the head women's soccer coach at Augsburg University. Sorry, just became university. Used to be college. I've been coaching with Minneapolis United for about 15 years, and I've been with the rec program about 5 years. So I basically provide a very small amount of coach education for the MU rec program. I know that this evening was supposed to be 6:30 to 8:30. We will definitely not go until 8:30, so we're kind of thinking about time right now. I'd be surprised if we're here past 8 o'clock. So there's two parts. There's this little kind of classroom session that we have right now, and then there's a field session. The field session is a little different this year. Unless you're a 6, it's really geared towards the 6 and 7 age group, and I'll explain more why shortly. But just want to kind of give you the lay of the land. I'm Mike Navarre. This is a classroom session. It'll probably be 20 to 40 minutes, depending on question and answers. And then we'll have a mini field session primarily for anybody that is available. You're welcome to attend. It really hits the 6, 7 age group, and I'll explain further. Okay. Kit Mullen is the admin, and she will be coming to interrupt me at some point in the next 5-15 minutes. Once she has everybody kind of checked in, she'll review how the teams are formed, kind of the administrative logistics of the program that a lot of people have questions about. Okay, so Kit will be coming in, and when she comes in, we'll interrupt the classroom session for a bit. Okay, so a little background on, again, kind of why I'm here, what I'm doing. So about 5 years ago, the former executive director of the club, Greg Wheaton, he kind of wanted more sort of soccer people involved in the rec program. And by that I mean just people that have a career in the game. And he asked me to be involved. Both my kids were in the rec program. So I have my Augsburg players have been facilitating the rec kickoff for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or more now. So I was kind of had my feet in the water a little bit, and I just said sure. So this is kind of my 4th or 5th year, kind of somewhat of a formal role, but I use that loosely, as I will explain later. I don't provide a lot of oversight or coach education. We used to have one of the things that I changed initially when I came on board was we used to have kind of a formal referee check-in, and it would take 10 minutes by the time they got both teams done. And I just said, why don't we use that as kind of a warm-up time and a time for coaches to do an activity with the players. And so that's what we've done now for the last couple of years. We did that for the last few years. And I would say it was a mixed success. We have a lot of volunteer coaches, whether they're parents or younger players, and they weren't necessarily always comfortable in kind of leading a more formal sort of soccer activity with their group. And we'd see a lot of classic just sort of lines, and 12 kids in a line, and they'd get 3 shots, and then the game would start. And so, and it wasn't because I didn't try hard. I tried really hard. We created a coach's manual, lots of activities, and always available via email or phone. But and a lot of that, I think the kids were kind of coming in late, and then the kids just want to. What do the kids want? They just want to play. So we kind of went back and forth a little bit with the coaching directors and the now executive director, Greg Olson. Bottom line, new for 2018. Is we are eliminating that sort of 10, 12-minute pre-game kind of warm-up practice activity, and we're just going to add 5 minutes to each half. And so for the U8s, 9s, 10, 11s, and 12s, 13s, 14s, 2 25-minute halves. Okay? So don't leave. Hopefully sort of get some value here. But unless you're coaching the 6-7 age group, the 6-7 age group is the same format. 30 minutes of activities, ball-based activities, which I'll show you a lot of activities tonight. That's why the next portion becomes really imperative for that group, because I'll show you, demonstrate a lot of activities you can do with the kids. But we've eliminated that sort of again, that activity prior to the game. So 8s, 9s, 10, 11s, 12, 13s, 14s, you're no longer sort of expected to have sort of a activity plan in place prior to the game. You can just show up and coach within the game. That being said, I would love/encourage you to maybe offer an optional practice. You don't have to do this. You guys do not have to do this. It's not expected that you do this. This is just love for you to do this. Would be offer an optional practice. Offer a few optional practices during the summer for the kids. Maybe on a Sunday night, hey, we're just going to go to Todd Park or Pearl Park, carve out a little space, and we'll just get some touches on the ball. I've got a manual full of activities. If they could get 3 contacts a week, 2 games in a practice environment where they got to touch the ball a lot, that would be awesome. You don't have to do that. I'm just throwing that out there as a really cool thing. I'd love to have some people consider doing. It would truly be out of the goodness of your heart. Okay? That being said, it's great. The kids, this is an awesome program. Everyone has kind of a different perspective and sort of what they anticipate and what they expect when they come up. But it's, and this is relative, but compared to traveling, it's a fraction of the cost to play from what the traveling fees would be. And the kids get 2 games every week. Line fields. The fields aren't the greatest, but they're lined. The refs aren't the greatest, but they're there. And don't laugh too hard, because that's my other role, is to train the officials. So if you're laughing too hard, you're making fun of me. They're younger kids. It's a summer job for them. It's an opportunity for them to kind of get out of their comfort zone a little bit and get back to the game. Most of those referees are in our competitive program. So, not to wax too poetic here, but it really is a feel-good soccer environment. And that's what I want you to create. Coaching is all about effect. Nothing else. I would ask you to ask yourself, what effect am I going to have on those players this summer? What effect am I going to have? What motivational climate am I going to create? Am I going to create a mastery-oriented environment where we reward efforts and maybe some risk-taking with the ball, maybe some risk-taking with our defenders pushing up, maybe an environment where we expect the teammates to be supportive of each other? What energy am I going to bring to the field every day? Because your energy will be a catalyst for the effect that you have on them. So nothing else, consider the effect that you want to have on your players. Okay? So, I'm kind of going off the list here. Okay, so now I'm back to the format, back to the outline. Does everybody have an outline? If you don't, you can look out with a friend. And it's one addition that we did add. So, what is the big change for 2018, Nikki?
For 2018, for what?
What's the big change?
No changes to U6, U7, no 12-minute mini practices, and adding coaching within the game for the 8 to 9.
That's right. So the big change is we've taken away. But we're adding coaching within the game for the 8-9 age group. What do I mean by that? This is the sight I most commonly see. I think a lot of the kids in that 8-9 age group, maybe they just finished playing with, other parks, Fulton Park or something. And so I see the goalkeeper on the goal line. I see 2 defenders here. And I see other players somewhere else. And, maybe other players are here. And the ball is like here. And it just kills me. And so what do I mean by, what would be an example of coaching within the game? 8-9 coaches walk in, onto the field, this is you, I'm Horrible Drawer, hey! And encourage them to come up. Encourage the goalkeeper to come up. Just, if you're an 8-9 age group, it's okay. Just it's okay to come in and feel the play. Just say, hey, back line, come on up, come on up. Slide over. The ball gets played over here, and you have a player over here, slide over. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 age groups. At that point, we want to hold to more of a traditional sort of game format and coach from the sidelines. Okay? So that's another new element and the reason being is the kids can't always, at that age group, that 8, 9, a lot of those, that's their first entrance into a formal soccer game with goalkeepers and nets and rules and refs. And so you're teaching them the basic rules of the game is important. So that's part of the reason why we want you to be comfortable going onto the field and encouraging them and kind of directing them a little bit. A lot of them, won't know how to do a throw-in. Feel free to walk over there and show them how to do a throw-in. Those kinds of things. Okay? So now I'm on section 2. What are kind of basic expectations? And I hesitate to say this because I don't want the 6 and 7s to be like, oh man. But the 6 and 7s by far have the toughest job. You have to entertain, you have to create a plan for a 6 and 7-year-olds for 30 minutes. And the rest of you guys just have to show up and coach. So 6 and 7s have the toughest job because the kids have the least amount of attention and you're coaching them the longest. So what you need to do is develop a plan with 4 or 5 games. And I'll show you games later. But tag, freeze tag, just ball-based games. And then after that 30 minutes, we play, the field is broken into half, and we have 2 games side by side, 3 versus 3 to pug goals. So that was a change that was made 5 years ago. We needed the kids to have more touches on the ball. At that age, they're very ball-focused, they're very self-focused. Don't yell, spread out, pass! It's just not in their psyche. Tactical shape is just not in their psyche at that point. So encourage hustle. Can you do a cutback? Can you dribble? Can you have a shot? Sure, maybe can you connect a pass, but odds are their teammates standing right next to them. So, we don't need 12 people around the ball at 6 and 7. You're already going to have 6 around the ball by playing 3 versus 3. So that's why we made that change. There was a little pushback from some parents initially, but I think for the most part now, almost everybody gets it. Less numbers equals more touches. And I actually, maybe I shouldn't say this,
Do you want me to pause it?
My thought was we could even do 4v4, 8s and 9s, and go this way in the field, get more players involved, more touches, but I got some pushback from that. Kids, and I respect it, kids want the real game. They want a referee, they want to go with nets, and so I get that. So that's what we have, 8s, 9s, 10, 11, 12, 13, it's all 6 versus 6. Okay, no offsides in the 8s and 9s. Again, you have all these rules in your manual, but I want to make sure you have the basics. It's all, after 6, 7, it's all 6 versus 6. Okay, so 6, 7 just really have to be prepared for the training. Focus on effort, ball manipulation, fun. All ages, all you coaches, show up on time, positive energy, make sure every player plays. We don't keep score, we don't have a website that has standings posted or anything like that. That being said though, especially the kids will keep score. They know the score. Okay? And I hear things like, we're not keeping score, this is just for fun. I understand the intention there, but think about what you're communicating. You're communicating, when we keeping score is now different than fun. We don't want to communicate that. So then they say, well, Mike, what should I say if they say, what's the score? Or I just say, I don't know, the score is not important to me. What's important to me is that you are hustling, that you are having fun, that you are working hard. These are the things that are important to me. If the score is important to you and you want to keep it, go for it. Then that is a better redirection, I think, than we're not keeping score, this is for fun. Okay? But it is true, we don't keep score. The kids know the score. And that's okay. It's okay for them to know the score. What it's about is what your emphasis on whether or not is important is what is important. Not whether or not they know the score or whether or not you're going to de-emphasize the score or not allow the score. Just focus on what you want is important to you and then reflect that constantly. Okay? So establish a growth mindset and motivational climate. I touched on that a little bit at the beginning. What's a growth mindset? A growth mindset is failure equals an opportunity to learn. Okay? The game presents a challenge to you, and it presents an opportunity to you to learn. Maybe they don't want to play goalkeeper. Maybe they don't want to play defender. Maybe they don't. All of that presents an opportunity to learn a new behavior, become more informed soccer player, etc. Okay? So that's what I hope you'll establish. Let's just kind of stop there. We'll have a Q&A at the end, but I've been doing a lot of talking right now. Before I go into the manual and kind of hit on some of the key points there, any questions? Anything that we want to address or dying to address you don't want to forget, or something you want me to clarify up until this point? Okay? I want to emphasize, again, you can email me, you can call me in my office, you can say, hey, I am a resource for you, but after that first week, I'm not on the fields. Okay, I have 2 kids in the traveling program, I have a college program to run. I'm not going to be walking around the rec fields all summer to make sure that, you're giving a motivational halftime speech. I'm just not going to be doing that. But that's not mean that I can't be a sounding board, be a resource if you have questions or concerns, ideas you want to run by me, ways to improve the program. I mean, that's kind of what I can provide. Okay? All right. Well, then we don't have. Does everybody have coaching manuals? Anybody have a couple extras? Does anybody need a coaching manual? Yeah. Anybody else?
He's gonna run out.
Anyone else? This used to be, another one of the changes I made was like, this used to be like a 65-page document. It was like a massive book. And I pared it down significantly. I'm obviously not going to waste your time and read the whole manual, but I do want to make sure I hit on some of the key points here. So there's an index on page 2, tells you everything that's in the manual there. I'm on page 3 right now, just a background check required for people 18 and older. So make sure you do that if you haven't completed that, that's very important. The rec program, the rec kickoff, that is also an important thing for me to go over. So I think that's on the end, but I'm going to do that now in the manual there. So, this is a really cool day. All the kids come, all the boys come, I think at 12:30 to 2:30, and all the girls come from like 10 to 12. And it's just a really kind of cool soccer cool day. The kids are fired up. They get their kit, they get a full kit, they get to meet their coach, they get to see who's on their team, and they're fired up. And so please don't miss that day because it means a lot to the kids, and that's kind of your first entrance to your team, to getting to know your team. And we have, I don't know the exact, I'll ask Kid later, I don't know the exact numbers, but right around 48 teams. Right around 50 teams, boys, 50 girls teams. Could be 48, could be 46, right in there. So I am responsible, this is the day that freaks the crap out of me. I am responsible for like 48 teams, providing a soccer environment for 48 teams at once. And that's stressful. And so what I used to do, what the expectation used to be was that the Augsburg College I don't even know where I coach. The Augsburg University players would come and we get a little practice. We don't have enough players to train, and enough space to train every single rec team. And we're taking away the time that you have to be with your team and to work with your team and get to know your team. But we're still there. So a couple years ago I created a format where, you know how there's like, raise your hand if you've not been down to Pearl Park. Okay, good. So we have like 7 fields, 6 or 7 fields down at Pearl. A couple of them are bigger than others. And we'll just say this is one field. You know, there's like 3, 2, 2. It's kind of been the format. So what I do is I just divide the field into thirds, and then I cut it in half. And so now how many fields do we have? Sorry, hang on. That's bad coaching. Now how many fields do we have? I just put goals down. Oh, you guys are going like, I'm sorry, I just meant on one field. How many fields do I have? 6. But yes, times 7. If there's 7 fields, yes, 42. And then I create more fields on some of the empty space. You with me now? I love my bad. Are you with me now? Everybody's with me now. So on the MU rec field, on the MU rec fields, I create 6 fields. And then yes, if there's 7 fields, it's 42 fields. And then if I need 46 fields, I gotta come up with 4 more fields somewhere in the empty space. And so all we do is I create, let's say there's 12 teams at the 10-11 age group. I'll put them in 2 brackets of 6, and we'll just do a little round robin, or 3 brackets of 4. Actually, I'll probably do 3 brackets of 4, and then you can create a little round. We create a little round robin tournament with your team and 3 other teams. Okay? And you don't have to. It's up to you whether you want to keep score. Okay? And so we just play 2 3 versus 3 games. Okay? So there'll be, and that's all we do. And the Augsburg, hang on 1 second. And the Augsburg players will be like, okay, I got Indonesia, I got Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam. You guys are with me, and we're over at the green fields. And Singapore is playing Vietnam right here. And then the coaches facilitate, you guys facilitate getting your team there and subbing your players in and out. Just making sure the team goes over okay, the 2 games. So you'll have 1 team, 2 games, 3 versus 3. That's how I deal with the entire 40-some rec teams all descending at Pearl Park at once. Okay? The kids get to play, they get a lot of touches, you get some interaction with your kids, and then I can sleep a little bit better at night. Yes? Okay, you have 2 teams, so you can split up. One can be with 1 team, and you can let me know, be like, hey, there'll be other, I can have an Augsburg player be like, hey, just stick with this team. I have enough Augsburg players for every team, but if there's 3 or 4 teams without a coach, I can just put an Augsburg player with that group. And there's usually a mom and dad that'll step up, whether it's a manager, and they'll step up and they'll just make sure the kids are sorted out. Okay, so the rec clinic is June 2nd. The field, if we get a lot of rain the night before, the park calls the shots on the fields. This is not our facility, this is Minneapolis Park Sports Facility. If there's a lot of water on the fields, they don't drain that great. We're not going to have 48 teams playing if there's a lot of water on the field and hurting the fields. Okay? Generally, that doesn't happen. We have a decent day and it goes off great. Good question. Other questions on the rec kickoff? So it's not, the Augsburg player's responsibility is not to train or coach your team. The Augsburg soccer program's responsibility is to create an environment, a fun environment for you to be with your team, and for your team to have a couple 3 versus 3 games, and to kind of say, hey, time! All right, come on in. Okay, Singapore, Vietnam, you guys are here. So, you guys are here. They kind of oversee the 3 versus 3 games. You stay and coach your teams. Okay? And it's a really fun morning, afternoon. Any questions on the kickoff? Everybody understands the format and what's expected? Okay. It takes a little while to get everybody there and uniforms and everybody sorted. So when it says girls 10 to 12, you probably won't be going out to the fields until maybe 10:30. So it'll be about a 90-minute, maybe it'll be 90 minutes. It won't be like, oh my God, we've been here forever, but it takes a while to get everything sorted and all the players in the right spots and together and stuff. Okay? So, I am working through the manual, page 3, there's the kickoff. You'll, bottom of the page there tells you the gear you'll get. So you'll have a penny for your goalie, you'll have some combs, so you get some gear there. If you don't need your gear at the end of the year, we'll take it back. We'd love to have it back and recycle that. Next page, I'll just hit on just during the season, kind of the basic schedule, the game nights. There's a couple of nights where we don't have games. Bottom of page 4, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 23rd. So there's that coincides with the holiday, and I think Minneapolis United's competitive programs tryouts, so that's what's going on there. There's a weather line info in case you want to know whether or not fields are canceled, games are canceled. The bottom of the page there. I'm just moving through the manual quickly, try to text alerts, top of page 5, make note of that. Cleanup. So the 6 and 7s play with puck goals. If you're coaching 6 or 7s, please bring the puck goals back with you to the check-in table, which is right on New Hampshire there. Opposite of Park Avenue, whatever, or Portland, whatever that is. There's the check-in, kind of a check-in table. There's a little lost and found there. There's extra pennies if your goalkeeper needs a penny, things like that. So puck goals need to be brought back there. If you don't do it, the referees will do it, or the on-site field. There is an on-site field supervisor each night, so that person is kind of responsible for that as well. But helps a lot, 6, 7 coaches, if you can bring the puck goals back. 8, 9 coaches, if you're there, you show up and there's puck goals on the field, if you want to bring them back or just get them off the field, that'll help too. As always, just make sure when you leave your area, pick up any loose trash, any things like that. Ideally, we would have the players on one side and the parents on the other side. Best you can, stick to that. There's the photo dates there on page 5. Your responsibility, we don't do a formal check-in for the players, so you're responsible to make sure earrings are out, watches are off, things like that. Referees are in charge of just surveying the field and the nets, but if you see something that's abnormal or not safe, you'll certainly let the on-site field supervisor know. A couple years ago, there was a big hole in one of the fields. We had to get some dirt into it, things like that. So you're responsible. We kind of eliminated that check-in period so that we can have more time to play. So please make sure your players are ready to go. Now that we're having the games start on the hour to extend the playing time, I have them arrive a little early. There's not a lot of warm-up space on there. You can usually carve out a little bit of space if you just want to do some really quick passing lines or really quick dribbling lines. You can create a little bit of space for yourself if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just make sure the players are there a little bit before the hour starts so that we can start the game on time. The referees are going to end the game, you know, they're not going to go into the next hour on the games. So if your game starts at 10 after, they're going to have to shorten the halves a little bit. Okay, so please, the players aren't really, this is a new change again, so the players are kind of used to kind of rolling in a few minutes after the hour. So we're going to have to train them to get there prior to the start of the game. We don't have that kind of buffer period anymore because we want to play more. Okay? Just a couple other, now I'm on page 7. There's no heading for U8s and U9s, and there's no punting at any age level. I got something I did, yell at me, why isn't that punting? You know, and the kids love to punt, and then goalie quarters, and it's the coolest thing ever, but it's not the coolest thing ever to launch a projectile into the air and have it land on an 8-year-old's head. Okay? We don't want them to be concerned about, you know, having to deal with that environment. And we want the ball on the ground, and we want the kids to work on their skills, and ideally the goalie would roll the ball out, or put the ball down, and pass it to a teammate, at the very least kick it up the field. So, in the interest in player development and player safety, we've outlawed, it sounds a little strong, sorry. We're not allowing punting, and we're not allowing heading at the 8s, 9s, and 10s, 11s. If it happens, the referee will just say, hey, you got 8 in the head, free kick going out the other way. It's not a big problem. There's not a lot of kids that are really aggressive in the 8s and 9s with heading the ball. So that's just some rules there. Yeah, question?
So with that, you know, I'm sure sometimes the challenge is say, well, some of the small kids, the goalie have a real hard time getting the ball out of the box in time for the other team playing, pressing up, and just see it. You know, you see that in the goalie. So are we doing, I just want to make sure that all the teams are on the same page as far as the opposing team and how far up they're going to allow them to play when the goalie.
So, great question. You got a couple points there, and one ties into one rule change I made is the 8-9 age group. Their goal kicks occur from the penalty spot because it's hard for them when they take it from the 6. It's hard for them to get the ball out of the penalty area. So the 8s, 9s goal kicks are at the penalty spot, and then it's a lot easier for them to get the ball out of the penalty area. Regarding goalkeeping, handling the ball, we don't ask the other team to do anything. This is not like drop off and, you know, we're not doing that. Goalkeeper gets the ball though, they should run generally speaking, they should run all the way to the top of the box and then roll it out to a teammate or put it on the ground and kick it. Some of them just sort of run out and throw it like this, and or they do a soccer throw in. And I'd love to have you show them how to roll the ball or encourage them to just put the ball on the ground and kick it. That would mean like a lot to me. These are the things that really bother me. They shouldn't, but they do. So, see, I don't think that's much of an issue with the goal kicks being from the penalty spot and the keepers getting to run out to the top of the box. Good question. Other questions? These are good kind of logistic management type of questions. Obviously, equal playing time. It's a rec program. We want everybody to equal playing time. Now I'm flipping over to page 8, and there's some. Now I'll kind of stop reading, just sort of point out what's there. Is the 6, 7s kind of really. I have some sort of developmental psychological stuff for you guys in there, kind of. And obviously kids develop at different rates, but you can kind of see, this gives you a little framework of where they are developmentally at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's certainly a bunch of activities for the 6, 7s. And I did keep in some activities for the other age groups. You don't have to run a practice session, but if you decide to do an optional training, you have plenty of activities that you can do. Okay? So So now I'm flipping through, there's a session plan sheet. Again, same thing. If you decide you want to create a session for 6-7s, you can use that sheet. And then I included a little piece on how to increase self-esteem in your players. So, knowing the name, smiling, joking, making eye contact. Again, not going to read it for you, but please take the time to read that. It's a great little short 2-page on how you can develop your self-esteem. There's something really powerful in a name. There's something really powerful in encouragement. There's something really powerful in specificity versus generality. You know, hey, great job. It's awesome. That's like, you can say that, please do. But great job running back. You know, great job supporting your team there. Great job encouraging your teammate. You know, the more you can kind of put what is the specific action that they're doing that is they're being rewarded for. You want to catch them being good. And this is not me in my accommodation, positive psychology is the rule of the world day. This is not that. It is just you will be more effective if you continually reinforce the things that they're doing well because they want to be praised. They want to be in your good graces. They want to know what gets them that positive regard. So please read this little handout on how to develop your self-esteem. And then just the last page is just the camp options that players have available to them for the club. Okay? So now we're at 7:20-ish, about 7:20. We need to go back to the outline. Nope. It's not on the outline. There's one thing I did want to talk about, and I'm sorry it's not on the outline, but I do want to talk briefly about how to organize your players. Because the biggest thing I see a lot, which I addressed, is just players, defenders back here, goalkeeper on the goal line, and the ball's up here. So we don't need to do a deep dive into advanced tactics. But I think even at 8 and 9s, they can understand the concept that it's harder to attack when you have no space. It's harder to attack when you have no space. It's easier to defend if you're closer together and you're taking away the other team's space. And so, how does that play out? I would just love to see the team moves up and back together and side to side together. And if you can get some, this might be harder on the 8s and 9s and 10s and 11s, but if you can get some expansion in width and depth, you're amazing. But if they can just understand the principle that when we attack, when we have clear possession, we want to spread out. As the ball is moving, we're moving. And when we're defending, we take away time and space, and we contract. That is primarily all I want to say. Those basic principles, up and back together, side to side together, expand when we have the ball, contract when we don't, is huge. The next thing I would offer is just up to you what system you want to play. You have 5 players and a goalie. You can call it a 3-2. You can call it a 1-3-1. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm not here to tell you what to do, how to organize your players. I'm just here to encourage you to have your players understand how you do want to organize them. And the principles of attack, of contracting, expanding, sliding, connecting, those principles are more important than the system you're telling them that they're playing. Does that make sense? Because I can take a snapshot at any moment in time, at any professional game in the world, and at one time they look like they're in a 4-3-3, and then 1 second later it looks like a 4-5-1. So the system of play is not nearly as important as the principles of play, and the principles that you want and basic principles of just how you want them to be organized. Up and back, side to side, I think is going to be more effective. That being said, create some type of plan for them. We're in a 3-2, and our wide players need to push up the field, and our two in the middle need to play kind of at an angle to each other. Or, no, we really want to play a 2-3, and our wide players will come back and help our back line. You know, we'll play like this, but when the ball gets over here, you know, slides over, the 3 drops in the line. Like, that might be hard for the 8s and 9s, not hard for the 10s and 11s. It's not hard. They can understand that basic shape. Okay? Any questions on how to organize your players? I would just love to see some variability. I would love to see you guys come up with what you think makes sense and just create a language that's simple for them. Okay. So now I am back to the sheet. I think we're good. I think we're on the Q&A section, number 5. So, what do you have for me? 7:25. This could take 2 minutes. It could take 20 minutes. I doubt it'll take that long. And then we'll kind of finish unless save for the 6, 7. Yes.
You just go to this sliding in 8, 9, and what the specifics are. I know it looks like it's allowed to go with caveats.
Okay, yeah. So, make fun of me if you think this is too vague, but I don't want people at any age group to slide to tackle. Okay? I don't mind them sliding if the ball is not within playing distance. Now, there's a gray area. I get that. They got the ball, but they kind of got some of the player. If they get the player, we're gonna call that an indirect free kick. There's no slide tackle. But what I don't want is the ball to roll out of bounds, about to be rolling out of bounds, and for the kid to say, "Oh, I can't slide." You know, so it's sliding to play the ball, not sliding to tackle. Is there anybody that's? And I realize that can be tough because maybe the ball is away from the player, and a certain player's momentum just kind of brings himself into that player, and then it does become a judgment call. But for the most part, I don't think it's that complicated. The kids watch professional games, and they want to slide tackle, but the bottom line is they're better off their development if they're on their feet. 95% of the time, they're going to help your team more, and they're going to develop more as a soccer player if they are standing on the field. Some of the 8s and 9s just can't help themselves, and they'll slide. The 6 and 7s, they're just crazy time. That's fine. But I'm not going to be, the 6 and 7s, just have fun. Try not to hurt each other, okay, as best you can. 8s and 9s, I get it, it's a little harder for them, and on up, they want to slide and tackle, but I think there's too many, different levels of kinesthetic and proprioception, just the level of awareness and maturity for the kids, that we don't want to create an environment where kids are sliding into each other at this level. This is not working. Is that, okay. Good question. I like these kind of clarifying questions because they're things that I'm not mentioning but are important. So, what else? Just give me a couple. Come on. Oh wait, kids here. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is perfect. I need a drink. Water. Alms dry.
First of all, Stella and Megan went to Brazil. It's embarrassing. Oh no! They're coaching too. And then I learned how to say this. Curacao? I listened to it on YouTube. I don't know how to say it. Who has that? Yeah. That one was just left there. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Kit. I just want to say welcome. I don't know if Mike asked you, but how many of you have coached before? How many of you have coached more than one time at MU? How many of you are coaching 4 nights a week? Yay, those are our lifers. How about our new youth coaches, teenagers or college kids? Okay, a lot of them are still at college. So we have a lot this year, so I think they're going to have a lot of fun with the kids. So my name is Kit, and if you have any problems, you just email Mike. There's always problems, and we try to do our best. Like tonight, for instance, we just came to see how's everything set up. They go, oh no, you're scheduled for tomorrow night. Oh no, it's tonight. So they help us get ready, so we're good. Couple things. Charles, one of our volunteers, he made schedules. They're on the clipboards. If you notice something glaring tonight, email me. Otherwise, we can go ahead and put them on the website for you, so you'll know your schedule. Like if your team is playing itself, that might be a problem. Just let us know. Otherwise, those should be posted by Sunday. And I'm sure everyone's curious about the rosters. They're done. They're just not posted yet. So the whole new system with sport engines, I'll be putting those on, and they should be done by Sunday too. I do teach full-time, and I have another part-time job, so I'm really busy. And I could probably do 1 age group a night. I think I'm going to have a lot of tears because not everyone got their choices. And we have some popular coaches. So one thing, they're on my little list here. We need to have balanced teams. So if it's 10, 11 team, half of the kids should be 10, half of them should be 11. Or the ratio should work out. So if you have a coach and 14 kids on a team for 12 kids wants the same coach, it's not going to happen. So I did split them up. But I tried to keep the kids together as much as possible. Coaches' kids, I think almost in every instance got their choice. So if your child wanted to play with someone else, that should have worked out. Reciprocal choices, I choose you, you choose me, those always work out. So if you all asked for, who's Joe? My new friend, Joe Kopp. I taught his daughter Mary years ago. If everybody wants Joe, it's just not going to happen. You just have to split you up. Chains typically get split up. So I choose you and you choose that person, I choose that person, I choose that person. They get split up, and what happens is you don't end up getting your really good friend in the first place. So I just want you to be aware of that. So if kids ask you, parents ask you why did my kid not get on the team that they wanted to be on. Another time if they had the wrong name put down. So I think I mentioned it a few years ago. If they wanted Kate Johnson and she was registered under Catherine Johansson, I may not have found her in the system. So that happens. Or if they only put the first name, well, they couldn't find them. Or if they were playing, or they're playing in a higher age group or a lower age group. I do get a lot of emails of unhappy people, but it's the way it is. There's a lot of kids that don't know anybody that are playing. And they do just fine. One other thing. Many parents, so 9 parents out of the high fivers, and there's like 75 high fivers, registered themselves. So,
Hey,
yeah, well, Joe's right, did it. So if I'm looking for that kid and I can't find him, I have to do a lot of research and look through. Oh, Joe's wife registered herself, but it's really a boy and he's 6. I'm looking. So Mary is not a boy. So anyway, that happens. Or if you register late, you just get put on a team. Any questions? I think that's all I have to say. Have fun and, yeah.
I have a question, but it might be.
Well, you're more welcome.
So that's the rotation schedule?
yeah, the player rotation schedule.
Yeah, the way that so there's in here, there's 8 shifts. And for 50 minutes, so
No, there's no agreed upon sort of subbing pattern other than just that all the kids get equal playing time. So if you'd rather sub 3 at a time or 2 at a time or a block at a time, that's totally up to you. I mean, obviously there's some gamesmanship there. There's a minute left. There's a one-goal game. You know, no one's keeping score except you guys aren't keeping score. Maybe 30 seconds left. Maybe you don't sub 6 players to kill the clock. You can manage to sub so that way. Those sheets you don't have to use, or those. A lot of people come from Fuller, and it's just easier for them to just go through a rotation. That's fine. That's totally fine. You might be in the older age groups, and that doesn't make as much sense because you have players that really want to be defenders. And I don't want to get too much into tactics or development. I would encourage you to play. I would encourage you to play at different positions. But if someone loves right back and nobody else on the team wants to be right back, it's fine. You know, if they're happy and he's the only kid that wants to play goalie or whatever, just check in with the kids. You know, give them what they want as best you can, as long as it doesn't come at the expense of what the team needs. Sound good? What else? Referees. Work with me here, people. You know, we're limited by age and maturity and different things. I have an evening with you guys. I have an evening with the officials, and outside of the rules and showing up on time, the biggest thing that I want from them is to hear them. Red ball, goal kick. And we get kids they're timid, and I'm not going to tell them, no, you can't referee. I'm just going to do my best to try to find that inner lion inside of them. And I don't want you to question calls, but I don't want you to feel like you can't talk to them. I'm not going to say that. Encourage them, hey, could you blow your whistle a little louder, please? We couldn't quite hear you. Hey, do you mind just giving us a signal that would, you know what I mean? Like, just facilitate them finding their voice and projecting their voice onto the game. Otherwise, do you have some things you want to talk about? Let's say to the
Well, with the 8 and 9s, they might do a little bit of training as they're
Oh yeah, good point.
doing it. So if they don't know how to do a throw-in, they might stop and teach them how to do a throw-in. If they're 12 and 14, probably not. So we encourage them to kind of teach the kids as they go along.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. At the younger ages, the referees and the coaches, they're not just officiating and coaching, they're teaching the basic elements of the game. So, hey, you lifted your foot, or you didn't have both hands behind your head, let's try it again. I don't want you, and I don't think this will happen, but I don't want you to think, that was a ball throw, it's our ball! You know, it's just, you want them to learn how to throw the ball in properly more than we want a turnover there.
And that's just for the 8 to 14-year-olds. So not for the 6 and 7s, no reps.
Yeah, there's no officials in the 8s and 9s.
And keep in mind that they're 14. They don't drive. This is a huge thing to be responsible for. A whole bunch of kids, a whole bunch of parents, and some coaches. That's huge. And so give them some encouragement.
I think they've been officiating's getting better, and I think the kids take it fairly seriously, and I think we do a reasonable job of providing them with some basic expectations. But if you can facilitate them just projecting their voice, and that would really help.
Don't be afraid to email me and say, this is an issue I had, but I need to know like what drill, what time, what age. And then I'll try to talk to that.
Other things that you might need coordinating with the officials on, if it's a really hot day and you know it's appropriate to have a water break 12 and a half minutes in the first half, the referee should be on top of that, the on-site field supervisor should be on top of that. But again, another situation that you can kind of mediate. Hey, it's pretty hot today. What do you think? You think we should do a water break? that kind of stuff. Any other questions for me? Yeah.
What's your stance on like porridge wedges and juice boxes and snacks during games?
During games?
Like during halftime?
I just think it's
You say no.
I think it's, I go back and forth on that. Part of me says it's part of the American soccer culture that we've created, and the kids love it and they look forward to it. And part of me, why are we giving our kids all this sugar and whatever else? That's not my call. That's up to you guys as coaches. I'm not gonna, you know, if you have a parent that really wants to contribute and he or she went out and bought some stuff for the team, fair enough.
But
I would be encouraging I would be encouraging water only, unless it's a really hot day, maybe a little sport drink, a little food, ideally. I mean, if we're gonna get like to this exercise science piece of it, but I think for the most part, just encouraging water is the way to go. And then if parents take it upon themselves to bring some stuff for the team, I probably would stay away from that by myself.
it'd be really nice if you could have the team throw away the stuff. If you do a treat roster, ask that person that you're trying to clean up. There's so much garbage left. So many, you don't know how many balls. You have like 30-some balls left from last year. Somebody left a stroller in it. Where's the baby? So
That being said, you know, you might be, what maybe you want to do if you're kind of passionate about that, maybe you say, hey, we're going to do Dairy Queen on the 31st. Or we're going to do Dairy Queen after the game on the first game and the last game. Create a little camaraderie within the team, but keep things how you want them. That's up to you though. Anything else? Well, thank you for your service to the MU and the club, and hang on, don't back up yet. I got a really long thank you. No, just thank you for everything that you're doing, providing a great environment for the kids. It truly is a fun space. Certainly competitive tempers can flare from time to time, but for the most part, it's just awesome to see grandparents and parents and volunteer coaches and younger officials, and it's just a really great experience. It's in some ways a very pure form of the sport, which I love to see. If you want to stick around and you're not 6 and 7, but you want to see some activities that you find for 8s and 9s on up, you're welcome to stick around. 6 and 7s, I'm not going to make you come, but would love to have you come. If you've never coached before, so that's kind of where we're at right now. We have half of the Lyndhurst gym reserved, but it's a beautiful night. If we can carve out, I just need a little patch of grass. So it's 7:40. We'll say 7:50. Is that enough time? 10 minutes? If you're going to stick around for the field session, we'll see you in 10 minutes. Why don't we at the very least meet? I'll meet on the field in 10 minutes. And if there's some space, it'll be obvious. If not, we'll walk into the gym. Sound good? Go ahead, got a question?
There's a criteria, there's like, about the Croatia.
Oh yeah, do we want to facilitate our coaches coming together?
Oh yeah. If you don't know your co-coach and you know they're here, or you think they're here, you can look online now, because you're on there, or you can shout out their name. What do you think more?
Becky's here.
Yeah, Carol.
Thank you all.